Well, Gary Keller, who's the CEO and co-founder of Keller Williams Realty, he's predicting that the housing market's not going to bounce back till the end of 2026. I don't know. Is he right? Is he wrong? I don't know. We're going to talk about it like we always do every week. This is your live dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker. And sorry about that. Let me shut this down. Oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. Anyway, thanks for joining me this evening. We talk about all things real estate, housing market, all the fun stuff. So I appreciate you all being here tonight. A couple of house rules. We have a poll. So if you are just joining and you see the poll over there on the right-hand side, the poll this week is, are you waiting until 2026 to buy a house? I want to know. I'm an inquiring mind. We're all inquiring minds. We all want to know how does everybody feel about the market? Are we holding out? We're going to go for it this year. I want to know. Also, I want you to share your housing wins. What do I mean? If you just got under contract, your offer accepted, you sold the house, whether you bought it or you sold it, you were the seller, tell us about it. I want to know. We're here to celebrate these wins because this housing market has been absolutely insane. People are getting frustrated with it. And I feel it's great if we share the wins and people share their stories, that it gives people hope that, we can still buy houses in this market. So it is possible. So share the wins. I want to hear about it. Speaking of wins, a couple of wins I want to share this week. One is with my with my client. I want to congratulate Oleg, who reached out to me about a week or so ago, wanted to pursue a home here in Bergen County. And we went for it, and we got it. Yes, it was multiple offers. And thanks, Jen. And we got him. We got him the house. And I'm so super excited for him and his family. They're first-time buyers, so this is so exciting for them. And it's just been an honor to work with him, and just honored that he called me and asked me to help him out. I also want to share some other wins with actually some referrals that I sent out. A lot of you reach out to me to get assistance with finding real estate agents in your market. I want to congratulate Alina, who just recently closed on a house in New York, thanks to my referral partner, Josephine Fusco. Thank you, Josephine, and congrats to Alina on the purchase of your home. I want to congratulate the Mullins, who just bought in Tennessee. We also have Angela, who just bought in Claremont, Florida, and the Jablonski family, who also bought a home in Orlando, Florida. So remember, if you guys need an agent in your market, reach out to me. There's that link down below. It's a free service for you. I'm happy to help get you connected to a real estate agent in your market. So, and also if you want to work with me here in North Jersey, same thing. There's another link down below. You can click on that, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. All right. Enough of that. Let's talk about what's going on in this housing market. So Gary Keller says he thinks that this housing recession, is going to last until the end of 2026. Now, we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. I just want to briefly tell you what's happening here in my market. Now, I've been saying for the past few weeks, pretty much this whole summer, God, I can't believe it's the end of the summer already. It's like mid-August. What the heck happened? It's been slow. We've been seeing a slowdown in the market here, especially in North Jersey, which was a shocker because we know how crazy it's been. Well, I spoke too soon. The past week, oh my, we're back to pandemic market again. I really think as soon as those interest rates dipped, everyone's back out again. And it only went down by a little bit. We're going to talk about the interest rates. So today, perfect example, I ran out to show a house to a client of mine here in Bergen County. And they just had the open house on Sunday. They called for highest and best to be tomorrow, Tuesday at noon. So when we went to the house, the listing agent was there. I happened to personally know him. And he told me that on Saturday's open house, he had 63 groups of people walk through that open house. He's expecting over 10 offers on this home. And I guarantee you it's going to be 100,000 over asking. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my God, like I thought it was going to get better, but no, we're back to this again. And I'm not trying to discourage people, but Maybe this is just a little surge. The summer's coming to an end, it's winding down, and people are back in the game, and the interest rates and all that. But anyway, that's what's happening up here. So let's get into what's going on in this world. So is Gary right? Is Gary Keller right? Are we going to have this recession till the end of next year? Let's talk about what's going on. All right. First of all, I want to share with you from Realtor.com the weekly housing market update. I thought this is a good one to talk about. So this is as of August 14th. There was 5 key takeaways. So it says, as the summer season comes to a close, prospective home buyers are encountering a more favorable real estate market characterized by a rise in new listings and stable prices, according to Realtor.com. Senior economist research analyst Hannah Jones. The market is showing signs of improvement with an increase in inventory and a slight decrease in mortgage rates. Despite concerns about inflation, there's a glimmer of hope about a more robust selling season ahead. All right, so it says here the key takeaways: new listings are on the rise, indicating a potential uptick in seller activity. Although they are still below the spring and early summer levels, home prices have stabilized, with median list price remaining unchanged from over a year ago. But the price per square foot showing a slight increase. Inventory levels are growing significantly faster than new listings, leading to homes sitting on the market for longer periods, reflecting buyer affordability concerns. The slow pace of home sales is attributed to the high housing costs and economic uncertainty, prompting sellers to adjust prices or reconsider selling altogether. Sellers are resorting to price reductions and delistings in response to waning buyer interest, highlighting a market where sellers are adapting to shifting conditions. So that's what's going on now, right? So if we have lower interest rates, so if they start to go down, like what I'm seeing right now here in good old Northern Jersey, we could have a buyer frenzy again, which could bring the prices back up. So I don't know. It's like, it depends on where you are. Now, I've heard from many of you, you come back and you comment on my, on the stream or even on my other videos, you're telling me how the market is. And I'm still hearing in pockets around the country, it's still a seller's market. And in some cases, it's not. There are a number of states that are seeing like a lot of inventory right now and a lot of price reductions. So let's talk about that. Now, here are the states. These are the homes. These homes are piling up on the market. These states have had the most dramatic shifts. Let's see. Okay, so these are the key states. Nevada, Maryland, and North Carolina lead the way in year-over-year inventory growth. Nevada has seen a strong uptick in investor-seller activity recently, which could be driving listings higher as buyer demand pulls back. Compared with the same time last year, Nevada has seen a 52.9% increase in the number of homes on the market. That's the biggest increase of any state. Maryland followed with a 48.2% increase in listings. Now, I just want to add to this here. Why Maryland? Because big part of Maryland is outside the Washington, D.C. area. So I think because a lot of people are either got laid off or whatever, they're just moving out of the area. If they're government workers, they're leaving. I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of listings there. Nevada, I'm not hearing such great things about Nevada right now because there's tourism there, right? And the tourism has been down. That's what they survive on, right? So a lot of the tourism, it's not doing so great right now. So I have a feeling that's what's impacting it. Now, North Carolina saw a surging popularity during the pandemic and is returning to some balance. Maryland has seen less extreme swings in price and inventory, but seeing inventory climb recently as buyer demand simmers. The inventory of homes for sale rose. The inventory of homes for sale across the country for July 2025 rose 24.8% year over year, marking the 21st consecutive month of inventory growth and the third consecutive month with over 1 million active listings. July's inventory reached a new post-pandemic high, though it still sits at 13.4% below pre-pandemic levels. But while more homes are available nationwide, certain states are seeing the most dramatic shifts. Let's see. To identify the top 10 states where homes are piling up on the market the most, Realtor.com economists analyzed state level listing data ranked by active listing count year over year for July 2025. Lower home prices and mortgage rates will be important to bring buyers back in the market as buyer demand returns. Available inventory can supply home shoppers with desirable options. However, it will be important for supply to ramp up with demand to endure price growth doesn't pick up once again. So it shows here are the states: Nevada, Maryland, North Carolina, California, Arizona. That's the top 5. I'm shocked that Florida's not on this list. This is that's interesting. 10 states are immigrant. Yeah, so we go Nevada. Okay. That gives a whole breakdown. I'm not going to bore you with all that stuff. But here we go. Sorry. Ooh, we got a lot of stuff. We already got a lot in the chat going on right now. So anyway, this is what's going on, guys. And I don't think sorry about that. I don't think I don't know. I don't think Gary Keller, I don't know. He could be listen, nobody knows. Nobody's got a crystal ball, right? But there's the housing market is so wonky right now. And again, it all depends on where you live. It all depends what part of the country you're in, right? That's what it comes down to. And like here, like I said, here in North Jersey and even all of New Jersey, I have a referral partner down in South Jersey. She's said it's seller's market down there. And if you're thinking about buying in South Jersey, there are much more affordable homes in South Jersey than you would find up here. And I'm talking like between, 300 to 400,000. I know. That's affordable. It is. It is for Jersey. So, they're still out there. It's just, you're probably going to be faced with some multiple offers. So, anyway, let's get some questions answered. So, here we go. Candy, thanks for joining me this evening. Hi, Jackie. Why would a seller list a house for less than a month, delist it, and relist it same day for 25% more of her first price, then cut the price by about 20% 6 weeks later? A couple of things probably went on here. Number one, they're not listening to the real estate agent. They want their price. They have their own price in mind, and they're trying it out. Okay. As I see this a lot, where homeowners have a number in their head, they're seeing what other homes around them are selling for, and they overvalue, they overprice it, and then they realize it's not working after a month. They take it, and I see this a lot too. They'll take it off the market, put it back on at a new price, and then they could try it again. So I think what could have happened here, they probably saw other homes were selling for more, and that's why he took it off and relisted it at a higher price. But then lo and behold, 6 weeks later, he wasn't getting any offers. Then they decide to reduce the price. That happens. And I said this last week. I feel like I am beating a dead horse, and I apologize if I sound like it, but sellers, please get real about your price. Please get real about your price. If you're overpricing, you're going to sit and I'm telling you, you're going to get a really low offer. You are. And then you're going to get to a point where you have to sell the house. You're stuck, and you're going to have to take that lower price. So don't get greedy. Do not get greedy, especially right now. Don't. If you're in a shifting market, not the time to do it. Oh, that was the other thing, guys. Thank you for putting QQQ in front. I meant to say that in the beginning. Please make sure you put that so my producer can find the questions easily. You guys are following the rules. I love it. Rita, thanks for being here. Should a listing contract only contain the listing agent commission amount and wait to negotiate the buyer's agent compensation? That is an excellent question. You can put on that agreement whatever you want. If you want to leave that blank regarding the buyer's agent compensation, you can absolutely do that. So then when you get offers, what your agent will do for you is they'll tell the other agent, the buyer agent, submit your offer with whatever their agreement is with their buyer, what their compensation is, and then you can negotiate off of that. So yeah, you can totally do that. But if you want to go out of the gate and put a number out there, what you would pay the buyer's agent, you can absolutely do that too. Music Doc. California has just capped HOA fines. Might other states follow? Thinking of buying a condo in Northern Virginia. You must be reading my mind because I just did a video about it. It's dropping on Wednesday, talking about all the new laws that are popping up around the country to get these HOAs in check. Yes, I saw that's one of the laws that I talked about. The one in California, they just passed where they cannot charge a fine higher than $100 per violation unless it's a matter of like safety, like if it's a safety and health issue, say in the common area, or if it's going to affect other homeowners, then they have the right to charge a higher fine. But anything else, $100 fine, that's it. So please come back on Wednesday to check out that video because I talk about that. There was a new law put in place in Minnesota, North Carolina, Florida, and it all has to do with these fines that the HOAs have been charging people, and even like charging interest and fees if they don't pay them on time. I think it was at Florida. It was Florida, and I think it was North Carolina. They were also putting restrictions on not allowing the HOAs to foreclose on people's homes. I don't know if you're aware of that, but HOAs have foreclosed on homes over unpaid fines, or even unpaid, like if people missed paying their HOA fees, their monthly dues. Oh yeah, it's a thing. So these new laws are popping up, and I'm here for it because they got to get these guys in check. So thank you for bringing that up. So excited. Raymond, thanks for being here. Our house listed May of 2018 at 329. All right, we bought September 2018 310 cash. Today's estimate 577,800. That doesn't take into account the 2 renovated bathroom, half basement, updated yards. Yeah. Raymond, where are you? I want to know. That's a lot. You've doubled. You've almost doubled. Well, the fact that you have a renovated bathroom and the basement's renovated and updated, you're probably over 600. So you probably doubled your value. That's amazing. What else we got? Midwest market here and prices of homes are still way overvalued. New home prices are starting to drop. You can buy new for as low as 300. A couple around here for 250. That's great. That's awesome. And you throw incentives on top of that. You're getting a lot of builder incentives now along with that. So that's pretty cool. Dan in the dirt, what's going on? Even higher interest rates, lower home prices is all that matters, especially in this economy. Yeah, lower. You're right. The prices, the home prices, that is the problem. If you lower the interest rates, like I just said, be careful of that. Be careful what we wish for, because that's going to wreak havoc all over again. Undisclosed user. I'm in San Francisco. I can't afford anything here. It's $500K for a 1-bedroom. That is ugly and less than 500 square feet. Kind of sounds like New York City. We're in the same boat in New York City. I know, that's frustrating. Hello, Clark. What's going on, my friend? Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Harry, how are affluent markets like Scarsdale and Westchester County doing? We are seeing higher list prices. I think it's the same. From what I've heard from my New York referral partners, New York, Westchester County, Long Island, still hot. It's still hot, because again, it's the city. It's the New York City factor. Trying to buy a home for $50,000 less, but they refuse. It's been on the market for 3 months, but in the last 2 months, they have no offers. They reduced the price $150. My realtor is not trying to con. Okay. So listen, if they're not taking your offer, they're not taking your offer, and let their house sit. And then they may have to, then they'll end up reducing another $50,000 anyway. Victor, will Indianapolis remain a top housing market? I don't know. It might. But what was it? A couple of weeks ago. Oh my gosh, was it upstate New York? Oh my gosh, I have to look it up now. But it was a couple weeks ago, or like a month ago. I forget which one was the top market, but Indianapolis is up there. It's like the last frontier of cheap homes, but it could very well be. In Maryland, sources state that Maryland has only 2 months worth of inventory. So I think I'm confused by the article stating that Maryland has tons of inventory. Am I not understanding? Yeah, listen, I don't know. Listen, I don't personally know the market down there. I do have another referral partner down there in Maryland, and she serves like the Washington, D.C. area. She told me today, we just were on the phone today about this. She said it depends on the neighborhood. It goes down to specific neighborhoods. Some parts, and this is like again outside the DC area, some parts houses are sitting. And then she goes, then you go into another part, in another section, the houses are selling really fast. It's a very weird, unbalanced market down there. But yeah, the article is saying that they have an influx of inventory. So I'm not sure where Realtor.com is pulling all their data from, but I can see why they'd be confusing. Mark's Google housing downturn is just getting started. Listen, we are going to be in for a downturn, and we're going to be, we're in for a correction. It's not 2008, but we're definitely headed towards a correction. And there's nothing wrong with that. Correction's always a good thing. Rockmaker, I'm waiting to buy a house. When I find the right house at the right price, it doesn't matter what year it is. And then that's what you do. You wait, you take your time, Like I always say, don't time the housing market. You buy when you're ready to buy, when everything's aligned for you. I'm holding out not for any market reasons, but that's just when I'll be ready to buy. Also, hello. Thanks for being here. David Matney, thank you so much. Doesn't that look good? She's pretty over there, right? Thanks so much for being here, David. I haven't seen you in like forever. Where have you been? Glad you're here. Thank you. Candy says, I'll never buy a home in an HOA. Listen, I'm not saying all HOAs are bad, but many of them have gotten out of control. And fun fact, now people have been asking me about this, about why are so many new developments have HOAs in them. Well, in my research for the video I'm putting out on Wednesday, so basically the cities where these new developments are being built, they want these developments to have their own HOA. Because what happens when you have a whole brand new community of say like 300, 400 homes, the city doesn't want that burden of that infrastructure and having to use their resources, to take care of the roads in those neighborhoods. So they would rather they have their own HOAs. Same thing with the amenities. They'd rather the HOAs have their own amenities. So if you've got a community of like 300 homes, think about how many people that is, right? So they'd rather them have their own pools, their own playgrounds to alleviate all the extra, all these people from using the public pools or the parks and all the things. It's just, it's more of a tax savings for the city, right? Now, Minnesota, their law that they're putting out, it's actually banning cities in Minnesota from requiring new developments to have an HOA. So there's listen, pros and cons, there's two sides to that whole thing. Like, yeah, that's a good thing. You don't have an HOA to worry about, but then your property taxes will be higher, right? Because now you have all these extra people living there. You have extra roads, more children to put into the schools, to use the public services, all the things. So, but Minnesota, I thought that was very interesting that in this law, there's not that they're proposing that new developments, cities do not require new developments to have an HOA. So, but hey, Ryan, I'm so glad you made your first live. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Zach says, do buyers have more leverage in this market when buying a home from a national home builder? A lot of the national home builders are offering incentives. So say like rate buy downs, or credits towards your closing cost. So you could have leverage. You could, especially if they have extra, if there's a lot of homes for sale and they're not moving them. Yeah, you could have some leverage. Maybe even like, you know, like get a higher end appliance for the price of whatever the standard appliance is. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know if they'll do that, but for the most part, the incentives alone, that tells you they need to move these houses. So, thanks for that question, Zach. Listed my house in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and there was suddenly a huge inventory of folks in town listing their homes too, but on the market a month now and about to drop 15K again on asking. Oh, wow. Well, I wonder if it's the time of year too, because the summer, we always say the summer's like really slow, and then come as you're entering the fall, things start to pick up again. So maybe it's just your timing. Everybody just decided to list right now. Hey, Lauren. I had the worst experience with the bad realtor in Pittsburgh before your recommendation. I took my shoes off at a house and I stepped on a rusty nail. Oh, ew. I'm sorry, Lauren. That's not fun. I hope you're okay. Do you see the Connecticut market getting any better for buyers, especially central Connecticut? So according to my referral partner up there, it is a little bit better than here in Jersey. But it depends. If the house is priced well, shows well, it's gonna go fast. I don't know how they're doing as far as multiple offers are going, or, how many offers are getting. I know she just got one of my referrals, who came to me, she just got them under contract. She got them pretty quick. She started working with this buyer, then within a month, she got them under contract. So I don't think it's as bad as what we see here in Jersey and in parts of New York. Any insights on the market in New Hampshire? Last I heard, it's still crazy up there in New Hampshire. Everybody, same thing, limited inventory. Yeah, all sorts of craziness going on there, Tom. Is it possible and easy enough for me to sell my own house through an auction without hiring somebody to help me? You could. But if I were you, get an attorney to help you with that, because it can get really hairy, and depending on who's buying it, you just want to make sure you're protected and you're not losing anything, right? You don't want to leave any money on the table. So, hey, where have you been? You're on the replay, gang. I so appreciate that. You're the best. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Love that handle. National Builder offered me $10,000 to put towards closing costs. Okay. Yeah, that's about standard. I've seen more depending on the builder. Again, it all comes down to their inventory and how much they need to get rid of. But, 10,000, that's pretty standard. How long does a correction take? Does it vary by area? It does vary by area. I don't know, it could take a year, take a couple of years. I'm not really sure. And especially now, because we're in such a weird place, because it's not like 2008 where we had all those people when we went to that great recession, great financial crisis, and everything fell apart because of the subprime loans. We're not in that situation right now. It's much, much different right now. People have a ton of equity in their homes. So if they fall into any type of trouble, whether headed towards foreclosure or short sale, I mean, they have enough equity in the home, they can turn around and sell it and get out of that situation. So it's really hard to say, Candy. Looking to purchase a house soon. We are looking to pay it off early. How does amortization rates work if you pay off your home early? That's a lender question. I'm not really sure. If you're working with a mortgage lender, have them break that down for you and show you those numbers, how that works. Oh, that's my cue. It's time to celebrate the wins. So, Jen, let's see. I've got a win. Put it on for 50 below asking in North Jersey. I've been looking for a house for 3 years and it happened. Then I woke up, realized it was all a dream. Thanks, Anthony. That was a good one. Moving to Washington, seller accepted offer and agreed to pay all closing costs and my agent's commission. Feels good to have a little leverage again. Good for you, Ryan. Congratulations. Jen, you're killing me. Is that it? Is that all we got? That's all the wins we got? Okay. All right. Well, congrats, you guys. If I wanted to politely ask if a homeowner would like to sell their house, even though it's not for sale, would you recommend that I leave a letter? Yes, absolutely leave a letter. But try to make it like look all professional. Like don't leave like a handwritten note because that's kind of creepy. And you may not get taken, people won't take you serious. So that's what I would do. Yeah. Okay. So in other news, did you guys hear about this? So our friend Mark Zuckerberg over on Facebook, he's like making a compound. He's buying up all these houses. I'm not kidding you. You ready for this? You're going to love this one, guys. Look at this. Billionaire Mark Zuckerberg sparks fury from Palo Alto neighbors over $112 million compound that he spent 14 years building. What? It must be nice to have money like Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway, billionaire Mark Zuckerberg's enormous property portfolio is once again at the center of a scandal. Just weeks after the Facebook founder raised eyebrows with the expansion of his opulent $365 million Hawaiian compound. However, the latest controversy to cloud the businessman's real estate dealings is located much closer to his primary home, in the town of Palo Alto, California, where Zuckerberg's ever-expanding compound is causing quite the stir among his neighbors. According to a new investigation by the New York Times, residents in the leafy suburb of Crescent Park, where Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, reside with their 3 children, are kicking up a stink over the tech mogul's oppressive occupation of the neighborhood, where he is now understood to own 11 different properties. Such is his dominance over the neighborhood that the outlet referred to this stretch of road where he has amassed his collection of homes as a monopoly game board that Zuckerberg, who has an estimated net worth of $272 billion, has steadily been taking over. Many of his real estate deals in the area have been conducted off market, with former residents and homeowners revealing that they were approached out of the blue by representatives for Zuckerberg with offers for the properties, oftentimes at prices that far exceeded the estimated value of the real estate. Oh my gosh, really? Though the billionaire is ferocious in his bid for privacy, prompting some neighbors to note that he is rarely seen in the local community, his presence in and around his homes are clear for all to see, from the constant parade of construction workers to the ever-present security cameras that guard each of his dwellings. No neighborhood wants to be occupied, Crescent Park resident Michael Keshnick told the Times, but that's exactly what they've done. They've occupied our neighborhood. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Okay, Realtor.com contacted Zuckerberg's spokesperson for comment. Zuckerberg and Chan began gobbling up homes in the area back in 2011 when the Meta CEO bought his first dwelling in Crescent Park for $7 million. At that time, the social media tycoon who founded Facebook from inside his Harvard University dorm room was worth $13.5 billion. In the years since buying that first home, which still serves as the heart of his enormous compound, Zuckerberg has purchased 10 of the dwellings in an apparent bid to create a kind of property buffer around his main abode. Must be nice. The first of those additional homes, which sits directly behind his primary dwelling, was purchased for $4.8 million in 2012. Then he bought the home adjacent to his main residence for $10.5 million in September 2013, before snapping up 2 more properties behind that first home in October 2013 for $14 million and $14.5 million, respectively. I can't. My God, is this guy for real? Those 5 properties became the nucleus of Zuckerberg's compound, with renovations carried out to transform the existing dwellings into a luxurious estate for the Meta CEO, his wife, and their children, with some of the homes turned into a guest house for any visitors lucky enough to receive an invitation to stay overnight. A pickleball court has been installed. A large swimming pool with a hydro floor that can cover it up when needed has been added. A statue erected in Chan's honor now sits among the lush gardens that surround the compound. The Times also reports that Zuckerberg has turned one property, the $14.5 million home that sits behind his first purchase dwelling, into a private school, with the outlet alleging that he did this in violation of city code. Nice, Mark. Nice job. Another property has been used for the past few years as a private school for 14 children, even though that is not an allowable use of a house in a neighborhood under city code. God. 6 adults, including 4 teachers, worked there this past school year. He has also expanded his properties underground, building a 7,000 square foot bunker style basement beneath several of his homes. Look at this. Can you guys see this map? Look at all these homes that he bought. He's unbelievable. All right, so weigh in, guys. What do you think about this? I want to know. How do this is crazy. I mean, good. All right, great. You have all this money. Good for you. But are you kidding me? Look at that map. Look at those houses. I don't blame these people for being upset. If you live there, would you be happy about this? I wouldn't be happy about that. That's just obnoxious. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, I just want to see if there's anything else important. Like, it's just, God. It says here, billionaires everywhere are used to just making their own rules. Zuckerberg and Chan are not unique, except they're our neighbors. But it's a mystery why the city has been so feckless. Records show that Keshnik's home is now bordered by 3 sides of Zuckerberg's properties, placing him at the very center of the so-called chaos that the Facebook founder's presence has caused, from additional police presence when he throws casual barbecue to the noisy work carried out at his dwellings. Yet Keshnik refuses to give up the fight, despite being approached by Zuckerberg's representatives with an offer of his own home, which he's owned for 30 years. Okay. Weigh in on this, guys. What do you think about this? No, thank you. No, thank you, Mark. I don't care. This statue of Priscilla Chan is so creepy and dystopian, right? Right? Isn't it? Ew. Really? Like, get over yourself. Zuckerberg needs to help the community. I agree with you, Pistol Hour. I think he should. You're buying up all those homes. I can't believe, like, with he's like in between, like, all these other homes. All these other homes are like in between the ones that he owns. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He also bought acres of beachfront property in Maui. Why do we even need billionaires? I mean, look, you know what? Good on you. You know what? He built this business. He's doing well for himself. Okay, great. But why do you have to interrupt everybody else's lives like the average Joe? Like, why do you have to do that? Get me out of here. Says, must be nice to buy multiple multi-million-dollar homes. Still waiting for my first, and I'm quite a few years older than Zuck. Yeah, I'd love to have a multi-million-dollar home too, but here I am. I'd be happy if I was selling in the neighborhood. Yeah, right? You get a pretty penny. If I lived there, I'd sell to him too. Listen, if he's willing to pay that kind of money, California is great except for cradling autocratic billionaires. Yes. Yep. It's a mystery why the city's been so feckless. Is it a mystery though? Yeah, Ryan, I don't know. Something is going on there. Definitely something's going on there. It's like somebody's getting paid off. There, I said it. I would definitely be the neighbor that says no to any and all of his offers. Yeah, but be careful with that too, because you could be the last house standing and you're going to have his compounds surrounding your yard, surrounding your house. Walt Disney did it in Florida. Well, yeah, I mean, Walt Disney built Disney World, so yeah, you're right there. What do we got? So, Jen, we have a couple of questions. There we go. Is there any hope for me, a single buyer making slightly less than 100K, too much for low income, but not enough for anything else, to buy a modest house in Eastern Massachusetts in the next year? Here are my suggestions for you. And I know it's probably really frustrating, but I would speak to a mortgage lender. You don't have to do a full pre-approval. They could do a soft pull of your credit just to see where you're at, what you would qualify for. And if you have any debt you need to clean up, they'll tell you what debt, what you should do to get your credit score up. The other thing I would do is check out what if there are any first-time buyer programs offered in your town. I know Massachusetts, every state has first-time buyer programs where they can give you money towards your closing cost or I think towards your down payment. So check with your state just to see if they offer anything like that. That's what I would be doing right now, and just keep saving your money. I know it's hard. I know. But just to kind of get some knowledge right now, talk to a lender, really understand what is it that you need to be able to make that mortgage payment, and also look into the first time buyer programs because they're out there. Listed my house in Northern California 11 days ago, limited showings. When do you suggest lowering the price and by what percent? Okay. I like this. This is a good one. So you had limited showings, no offers, and you are 11 days in. So usually my rule of thumb is 2 to 3 weeks. If we have no offers, it's time to reevaluate the market. So I would have your realtor take a look at what's currently active on the market, what went under contract. And they should reach out to those agents of the listings that are currently under contract to see if she can get an idea, he or she can get an idea of what the sale price is of the ones that are under contract. Like here in Jersey, it's like top secret. It's hard to get that information from agents. We're not supposed to reveal the price until the property's closed. But, you can try and feel around, have the agent feel around to see what those homes are selling for. And then I would adjust. You got to adjust according to what's going on in the market. And if you want to get aggressive, you want offers, you need to sell it, then get under slightly the market. So if somebody's got a house on the market, maybe it's priced a little bit less than yours, maybe you want to come a little less, slightly under that one. I hope that helped. Do you ever think builders will ever build homes like the homes of the 40s and 50s? No. No, there's just cheap materials. Very cheap materials now. Thank you, Clark. Everybody hit the like button. I appreciate it. I've been waiting for so long, 4 years for a home. I'm even considering to write a love letter to the seller. Is that a good idea, or does it come off too desperate in Haverhill, Mass? No, but don't involve your agent. What I would do it on your own, or if you want, you could have your agent present that for you, but there's no guarantee that the listing agent is going to show your letter to the sellers. So yeah, you can do it. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's there's this whole thing about how love letters violates fair housing. I understand that. I totally understand that, but I'll be honest with you. People still do it, and it doesn't come across desperate. It shows people, it shows the homeowner that how much you love the house, shows your interest. But be careful in how you word it. It's like you don't want to imply anything about religion, race, or anything like that in your letter, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, no, people still do it. They do. Sabrina says, is it a red flag if a home has 8 open current loans against it? I ran a public property report on a potential home and felt very off about this. Also, the house has a tenant. Yeah, I wouldn't be touching that home. No. Nope. Mm-mm. Yep. I've been looking into these first-time homebuyer programs, and the one in Maine seems very attractive to me. How practical are those programs? Are there downsides? There really isn't. I think you have to meet certain requirements. Talk to you. I think some of them you either apply directly through the state's website, or the lender can. If you have a lender that's very savvy in those programs, they should be able to help you get that application for the grants and whatever loans. Some states will do a grant. Will say they'll give you $20,000. Like here in Jersey, you can get up to I think it's up to $22,000. You can get, and I believe it's a grant, meaning that you have to live in the house for a period of time, and that's totally forgiven. You don't have to pay that back. So you just got to read the fine print in your state. And again, talk to a lender who is familiar with it. When will prices in Central Jersey come down? Townhomes I'm looking at in Pasking Ridge and Branchburg are over 500 and they need work. Michelle, there are townhomes up here in northern Bergen County. Are you ready? They're selling 7, 8, up to $900,000. And these are older townhomes in my town, my own town. I cannot believe what these things are selling for. I'm sorry to say, listen, 500, I'd take 500 for a townhouse right now. Cause up here, they're selling, and even millions. There's another town up here in northern Bergen County. Townhomes are selling for over $1 million. What is that? What is that? So 500K, I know it's probably a lot for you. I'm not trying to, make you feel bad or anything like that. I'm just saying up here, the prices are outrageous. Michelle says, not ready to commit with the buyer agent. Is it okay to deal with seller's agent to view things on the market? Here's the thing. If you're going to engage a seller's agent, they're going to have you sign a buyer agency agreement, because now they're going to be working with you as a buyer to show you properties, and they cannot show you a property without having a signed agreement. So what I would do, listen, most selling agents they work with buyers. Okay. Interview agents who, work with first-time buyers, who do this. I mean, I work with a lot of buyers. I do a lot of listings, but I do work with a lot of buyers too. I work with a lot of first-timers. That's my thing. I love working with first-timers. So try to get names of people. If you need me to help you with that, if you heard me in the beginning, there's a link down below. Click that. I can get you connected to somebody. But talk to different agents. Because again, you go to the selling agent and you want to go look at houses, you still have to sign that buyer agreement with them. So your advice definitely works. I lowered around 3 weeks, as in Jackie's advice, and it did drum up a lot more interest for the open house that weekend. However, it was offset by many homes entering. Okay. So I'm glad you listened. And you see what happens. So now you see the activity come in. Now there's other homes on the market. You got to watch what these other houses are doing. You got to watch them closely, and you got to get in line with what their price is or what they end up selling for. So thank you for listening. Okay. With cheaper new materials, would you recommend buying and fixing up an older home? Listen, it's very possible to do that. Now it's a catch-22. It's like you buy a new home. They're not always the best quality, especially with the larger builders. But then on the flip side, if you buy a fixer-upper, an older home, you could be opening up a Pandora's box, right? Especially if it's an older home and you start taking walls down, you don't know what's behind the walls. So I hear this all the time. People go over budget on their renovations because they run into snags. They run into an electrical problem or a plumbing problem that, was behind the walls. And it ends up, they end up spending more money under the floors. People want to replace the floors. And this happened to me. And I redid my mudroom. Oh my God, like 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. We ripped up the old floor. And guess what? There was like a hole going down you could see right down into the basement. It was rotted because it had gotten water there at some point. I don't know how, but that mudroom job cost me more than I had budgeted for because we ran into that. So, but just take that into consideration, just make sure you have the budget, always go about like 20, 25% more than what you budgeted for. You know what I mean? So whatever you're quoted, step back, whatever you're quoted, from the contractor, tack on like another 20, 25% just to be on the safe side because you're going to run into problems. I interviewed 2 agents. Both would like to list above 600K. They did pull comps, but I think that the price would be too high in this market. Did I make a mistake by telling them that? No, you didn't make a mistake. But if the data shows that the home is worth 600, you could list it at 600. That's what they're telling you. Um, unless they're higher than the comps. If like say if they're at like 580, 590, and they're saying, well, let's go in at 600, that I understand. Come in if listed at 580, 590. So I get that. All right. Amanda, closed last week on my first house, 190K in a suburb just outside of Rochester. We were searching for 7 months. Congratulations, Amanda. That's amazing. Thanks, Jen, with the little applause. Okay. I see another win there, Jen. Let me see something. Guy, I love this chat. I look forward to this every Monday. I really do. We close on our first home next week at 43 after terminating our first contract due to a terrible inspection. Looking for months. This is our dream house. 625, 20% down. Great inspection. Amy, congratulations. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. My realtor is showing homes, but she didn't make me sign anything. Why? Get that signed. You see, the rule now is you have to have a signed buyer agency agreement before you go show a house. That buyer agency agreement spells out what her commission rate will be if you have to pay her commission. So have that conversation about this buyer agency agreement, because you don't want to be caught and you're going to, oh my God, if you go to make an offer and say the seller isn't paying the buyer, your buyer agent, now you have to turn around and pay for her services. If you don't have something in writing of what you're going to agree to pay her, that's going to be a big surprise. And she may come to you and be like, you know what, I want 4% or something ridiculous like that. I don't know, but get an agreement. Thank you. Yes. Hit the like, please. Appreciate it. All right. What else? Ryan says, makes me feel a little better about having to spend $500 on a single family detached, $700 for a townhome. Yikes. Oh yeah. And more. I'm telling you, I went to look because I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll downsize and we'll buy a townhouse here in our town. Oh my God. No. When these townhomes just a mere 5 years ago were selling between 5 and 600,000, no. And now they're like up 7 to 900,000. That's just in my town. Like I said, another town, it was they're over $1 million. Welcome to Jersey. That's just how our life is right now. As a seller, letters are irrelevant. The highest offer is what matters. You're not wrong there. Yeah, the highest offer matters, but sometimes the letters do help a little bit. I've heard many stories over the years where the seller chose to sell the house to somebody because whatever reason, whatever they said in their letter that drew them to them. Because sometimes it's very important to the seller that the person they're going to be that's buying their house, they're decent people. They know they're going to be easy to work with, and the deal will get to closing. If you have a difficult buyer, it could be hell. It could be hell for a seller. So, anyway, Jennifer, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Realty here in Georgia. Are you seeing a lot of for sale by owner up in your area since the NAR ruling? Have you worked with any buyers on a for sale by owner, and did it work out? That's an excellent question. Thank you. No, I'm not seeing a lot of FSBOs, and believe it or not, last weekend, I was out with a new client and she went home. She saw on Zillow a for sale by owner that was listed on Zillow. And I reached out, I texted the number and called to see if they'd be willing to, pay for a buyer agent. I said, I have a buyer that's interested. No answer. And then I asked her to call. I said, you know what? Maybe better if you just called and try to get information from the owner. No response. It's weird. It's very weird. And this listing, this for sale by owner listing, they reduced their price by like $50,000. It was on the market for like a month and already dropped it by like 50. So we're not seeing too many of it. We're not. Because it's here in Jersey, once the homes hit the market because the inventory is so low, they're gone like that. As long as if you're priced well, they go so fast. So it behooves people to just work with the real estate agent and get it on multiple listing. So, but yeah. Still waiting to hear back from my seller after my lender said we should ask for a price reduction and do FHA 2 or 3K to do the repairs myself. Lender doesn't trust they'll do the work properly. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Hopefully they'll agree to it. Because yeah, you got to be careful with that too. When the seller is saying they'll fix it, they're going to make all the they'll make all the repairs. They don't do it to your liking. I'm just being honest. KJ, how important is the seller offering a home warranty to the buyer? That is an awesome question. And I have a client right now. We're under contract. We're closing next week. And they are getting a home warranty because some of the major components like the central air and the furnace or water heater, I think it's the central air and the water heater, they're much older, so they got a home warranty and is transferring to the buyers. So if you do have older systems in your house, and if you're buying a house and the seller is offering a home warranty, I think it's a good idea. I think it's important. Lauren says, how low is too low to offer on a house that has been on the market for 45 days? I mean, if the house is 300, could I offer 280? Yeah, you can. Why not? It's what you think it's worth. You can try that. Is it usually cheaper to build additions upon 1950s brick rancher or to try to build a new house provided we can find land? I don't know where you live, CS. It would probably be cheaper to add onto a brick ranch, because if you're building a house on land, you got to remember you got to get access to electricity, and water has to be brought into that house. So say if you bought it like a piece of land somewhere, not in a neighborhood, that gets expensive where you have to bring in the water and electricity into the home. So those are extra costs you got to worry about. Hey, Rick, thank you for this super chat. Appreciate it. Looking to sell a studio in Park Slope in New York City and buy in Raleigh. Any thoughts on those markets? Park Slope, from what I understand, is still pretty hot. Raleigh is slowing down a little bit. So you could be making that pretty well here. Rick, if you want agents, let me know. I have some agents in the city and in Raleigh I can get connected with. But yeah, I mean, definitely Park Slope. Oh my God, yeah. It's hot over there. I think you would do okay. All right. Thanks for the answer. We're seeing more FSBOs here. Our market has shifted down south, so I think that's what is driving it. My experience is exactly the same. Call the number, no answer. Isn't that weird, Jennifer? Why? If I'm a homeowner and I'm putting it out for sale, like, I'm going to answer that phone. Every time the phone rings, I'm going to pick it up and see who's on the other end and who wants to buy my house. I don't get that. That's so crazy. But that's crazy. You're seeing a lot more FSBOs there. Interesting. What's the oldest house that would be safest to buy? Wow. You stumped me here. You stumped me here. It's a good one. I don't know. I mean, as far as if you're looking for like a stable home, probably something in like anything built in, like, say the 70s, 60s, 70s. If you anything older than that, you're dealing with like in the 50s and 40s and much older, you're dealing with the plaster walls. right? So you have to take that down. I'm not saying it's unsafe, but it's a pain. And then you have asbestos tile. Asbestos tiles were very big, like in the 50s and 60s. So you got to be careful with that. So that's my guess. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just, I'm guessing. Sabrina says, Is a permit required to add fencing in the backyard in Northern New Jersey, first time buyer? Yes. Yep. You also have to go to your surrounding neighbors. If that fence is going to be like your next door neighbors on either side, you got to like let them know that you're putting a fence up. You got to not so much get permission, but you just got to make them aware, let them know what you're doing. I think you have to write like a formal letter. But yes, you do need to get a permit. Looking to buy a house, then put my house on the market. Would a home equity loan cover the difference? Make sense. Paid off my mortgage last year and I don't want another one. So you're talking about doing like a home equity loan oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, absolutely you can do that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So take out a home equity loan on the one you're selling or the one you're buying? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Off the one you're selling. Yeah, you can do that and use that instead. On land question, what do you know about buying some land and putting on a modular home? There are lots in Pittsburgh that are 50K. Wondering because I don't want to do lots of updates. I don't know specifically about Pennsylvania. You would have to talk to a real estate agent out there. Lauren, I think I connected you with Michael, who's out in Pittsburgh. Definitely I would chat with him about that, get his thoughts on it. But I mean, it's possible, you know. You can definitely put a modular homes, believe it or not, they're really affordable, and there's some really nice ones too. Christina, how's Bergen County doing? Is it slowing down at all? I usually look in Ocean County, thanks. No, it's not. No, it's not. Bergen was slowing down for a little bit there, and as I just said earlier in the, you're probably just joining us right now, but as I said earlier in the stream, this past week, I'm like, "Oh, we're back to pandemic market again." It's insane. Insane. Uh, yep. Crazy. A neighbor's palm tree grew too big and damaged the fence. He had the tree removed, but the damaged fence remains. Is he required to repair the fence? He should, I would think. I would go to him. We have homes from the 1700s in Massachusetts that sell for all ranges. My first house in Lynn, Mass was built in the 1840s. That's what I love about Massachusetts. I mean, we have really old homes here that go back to like the 1800s. Massachusetts, man, 1700s. So you all know Jen Sylvester, right? My buddy who lives up there. She tells me all the time about these really old homes up there. I'm like, that's really cool. That is really cool. I wouldn't mind living in one of those as long as it's not haunted. The house I'm looking to buy is supposedly over 100 years old, but it's been renovated, obviously. Yeah. Listen, the ones that are 100 years old, they're good too. I mean, and if it's been renovated, even better. My home was built in 1909 and is in great shape. Previous owner lived in the house 60 years. Never, newer homes are such poor quality. Yeah, a lot of them are. A lot of them are. The older homes, like my house is built in 1978. It has got great bones. All right, yeah, I love my house. Selling my co-op in New York City in order to purchase a home in Long Island. My sale will be contingent upon finding a new home. Do you think that could put me at a disadvantage? Not really, no. If you're in if you're in a hot market, which I think in some, well, yeah, I think you'll do okay. But here's the thing. You're gonna have to put a time limit on so I forget what it's called. The name it's escaping me right now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so if you go under contract, right, the buyer you accept the buyer's offer, the buyer is going to want to put some type of time restriction on there, like that you need to be under contract on your next purchase by a certain date. If you can buy first and then sell, that is the best case scenario. If you can't, you can absolutely do this, do a sale contingency, like the sale be based on you finding a new home, or you start looking now for the home, which I assume you are, And then if you find something, once you get under contract on that house that you're buying, then you put your house on the market and then hopefully time the sales accordingly. But if you got to price your co-op, you got to price it well so you can bring in a lot of buyers. So, yes, meeting Michael tomorrow. Why are people why are people not actually emptying their houses for it to be shown? Some houses are filled with stuff. Look, they're still living there. People are still living there. They just don't. They're not going to. Listen, when I sold my house 13 years ago, my first house, we had every time I knew a showing was happening, somebody's coming to look at the house, I was like cleaning up, and this is with 3 little kids running around, throwing stuff in the closets, putting things away so it was show ready. Some people these days, they just don't care. They're like, whatever. Come see my house. It's dirty. I don't care. Are modular homes allowed in New York City? I don't know. I don't know that one. I don't know where you'd put one in New York City, honestly. Love the woodwork and built-ins in early 20th century homes. I worry about the electric though. Yep, but that could always be upgraded. So, all right. Jen, how we doing with the comments? You guys are freaking awesome. Just wanted to say that. All right. All right, the collection. I'm very petty, Jackie. I would happily be the last house standing just to pick with him even more. I'd be an old man and still living in that house despite him that his money could not buy me. Good for you. Good for you. And you know what? And if Mark Zuckerberg came to you he could come to you for like $100 million for your house or for that, and you still wouldn't take it, I bet. Anyway, my friends, it has been amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here. So listen, again, oh wait, someday defect. Hey, what's going on? I have a win. I am finishing the remodel of my guest bathroom. I've been working on that. Was the armpit of my home. I'm pretty excited. You should be excited. Congrats. Listen, if you can survive a renovation, you can survive anything because they are not easy. They're not easy. Where am I going? Okay, guys, as I mentioned before, you want to get a hold of me? You need a real estate agent? Please go to my website. This is the link I'm telling you about. Click that button right here. Request an agent referral. Fill out the forms. I will happily get you connected with one of my referral partners in your market. So thank you guys so much for watching. And only time will tell. We'll see. Oh, the poll. I forgot to read the results. Okay. Are you waiting until 2026 to buy a house? 33% of you said yes. 39% said no, and 28% are unsure. Okay, so kind of mixed there, but thank you for weighing in on the poll. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here this evening. I will catch you all next week. Have a great week.